Well, thank you, Clerk Borling. I'll give Commissioner Cooney just a moment. Hello, I'd like to welcome everybody to the chambers this evening. It's nice to see this happy crowd here joining us this cold evening. Just finished a very interesting and informative committee of the whole, so that's creating a little bit of a late start here. But here we go. This is our business meeting, so I'm calling to order the Kalamazoo City Commission business meeting for Monday, March 18th, 2024. And as always, our first order of business is roll call. Clerk Borling.
Commissioner Cooney. Present. Commissioner Decker. Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradel.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson. Present. Vice Mayor Hess.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. May I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Decker?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Hess, supported by Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? All right, thank you. Well, we are honored this evening to have Pastor Doug Swink from the Lighthouse Community Church here with us, help us get started on the right foot this evening. So I'm going to ask those of us here in the chambers to please stand as Pastor Swink comes forward to provide an invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mayor Anderson, Commissioners, thank you for the privilege. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you for your unconditional love for us as shown through your Son, Jesus Christ. God, thank you for the privilege of serving this great city, Kalamazoo, in this fashion. I pray for wisdom and discernment for these men and women on this council. I pray, God, that they would continue to move in such a way that you would pour out your blessings on this city, that you would continue to protect this city. And then all is said and done here tonight, it would bring glory and honor to you. We lift all of these things to you. In your name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks again, Pastor Swink. I appreciate that. Well, we have a special proclamation this evening, and that is recognizing our police canine sledge for bravery and service. And I believe there are some public safety officers here. Is Officer Helpman here as well to come forward? See our chief getting up. All right. Okay. Here comes police canine sledge into the room. This proclamation will be read by Vice Mayor Hess.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. And as we wait for Sledge to come in here, personally, I would like to thank Sledge and all of the canine officers and all of the officers who are canine handlers in our city for helping to keep us safe and for all of the sacrifice that they give on behalf of the people of Kalamazoo. This is a proclamation. Is he coming? What's that? He's coming. Oh. So perhaps I should be barking. I don't know. He's a good boy. This is a proclamation in recognition of bravery and service, March 18th, 2024. Whereas The Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety's Police K-9 Unit was founded in 1987. Over the past several decades, KDPS has built, trained, and maintained a K-9 team that has had a strong standing of support for the citizens of Kalamazoo and the patrol officers who respond daily to high-risk calls for service. And whereas the KDPS K-9 team currently runs 8 teams of K-9 handlers and their K-9s who are assigned to every patrol shift, day and night, to ensure coverage 24 hours a day. One of those teams, whom we are here to acknowledge this evening, is K-9 handler Max Houtman and his police K-9 partner Sledge. And whereas K-9 Sledge is a 4.5-year-old Dutch Shepherd from Europe, K-9 Sledge was trained in-house as a dual-purpose K-9 by KDPS and put into service at the conclusion of his training in February of 2021. While PSO Houtman is on duty, K-9 Sledge responds with his handler to police calls for service on a nightly basis for K-9 tracks, narcotics investigations, article searches, and suspect apprehension. And whereas, on the night of February 6, 2024, PSO Houtman and K-9 Sledge responded to the 600 block of West Kalamazoo Avenue to assist officers requesting assistance. PSO Houtman and K-9 Sledge quickly arrived on scene, finding officers from KDPS already in contact with a non-compliant individual holding a knife. During this dynamic call for service, this individual quickly turned his attention to Officer Houtman and K-9 Sledge. PSO Houtman's training and experience kicked in, and K-9 Sledge was sent for the apprehension and bite to further avoid and prevent additional harm to citizens and officers on scene. During the K-9 apprehension, K-9 Sledge was stabbed along the neck, severing his jugular vein. K-9 Sledge never wavered, holding the bite, and distracted this dangerous subject long enough for PSO Houtman to move in, taking control of this individual and the knife. These actions directly prevented any further harm to K-9 Sledge, officers on scene, and the citizens of Kalamazoo. This individual was arrested, and K-9 Sledge was immediately transported for emergency trauma care by K-9 handler Houtman and additional public safety officers on scene, which ultimately saved K-9 Sledge's life. And whereas K-9 Sledge returned to duty 10 days later on February 16th, and whereas the City of Kalamazoo and KDPS owe their gratitude and acknowledge the training and commitment it takes for K-9 Officer Houtman and the KDPS K-9 team to maintain their readiness in support of their officers and the citizens of Kalamazoo. The outcome of this incident highlights the importance of our support for our police K-9s from the city, the community, and the police department for the preservation of life and safety. Now therefore, on behalf of the 55th City Commission and David F. Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, I, Vice Mayor Jean Hess, do hereby offer appreciation, acknowledgement, and honor to PSO Houtman and Police K-9 Sledge for their boldness and service on this 18th day of March, 2024. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. I know they're out of the room here, but I definitely want to thank our Public Safety Department, specifically PSO Houtman, who works with K-9 Sledge. And also, I want to recognize those officers who actually made sure that we did not lose K-9 Sledge that evening. It was very, very touch and go, and I know that there was a great deal of concern about that, but their quick work, it's amazing to me that K-9 Sledge was back working 10 days later. That seems like a miracle. So appreciate your excellent work and the great work that you are doing with our K-9 program. We are now to the point of adopting the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items on the consent agenda, G, which is rather long, that we would like to move to H, the regular agenda? All right, seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to move an item from G, the consent agenda, to H, the regular agenda?
10 and 11, please.
Want to move G11 and G10
That's correct.
to the regular agenda? Thank you.
I agree with her. I'd like to remove 10 and 11, please.
Okay. Thanks so much. Any other items that individuals would like to have moved?
I don't know the level of detail, but specifically G11.
We've already got G11 moved.
There's not consistency on East Stockbridge versus West Stockbridge on the contract, or on the
We're just
agenda.
moving it to the regular agenda now, so you can
Okay.
just,
G6 and G9 I'll just generally compact, and then there's an administrative error on G5, so move to the
you want to
regular
move
agenda.
G6, and what else?
Yep. Well, I would like to discuss G2, G5, G6, G9, 11, and 13, ultimately.
All right, well, in order to be able to discuss them separately, they have to be moved to the regular agenda. So if you could just slowly walk us through the items we're
Okay.
asking to be moved from consent to regular.
Okay. The reason for G2 is
You
that...
don't have to give a reason, you can just request, so fine.
Okay, those are my requests. Do I need to do them individually?
Okay, so G2, and
Yes.
the first one,
Yep. G5,
G5,
G6,
G6,
G9,
G9.
G11,
Okay,
G13. Correction, not G13. That I just support. That was a good one.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we now have a revised agenda, and City Manager Ritzma, are there any communications?
None, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now is the opportunity for public comments on any topic. You will have 3 minutes. Please come forward and state your name, whether you live in the city. And once again, this is not a time for discussion. It's an opportunity for you to make a public comment here for our business meeting. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Commissioner Cooney, for meeting with us, with We the People. That was a very productive meeting. Commissioner Hoffman, I hope that, we can reschedule, and I totally understand. My condolences. Wilson, thank you for scheduling with us and meeting with us. I would encourage all of you to look into rent stabilization and why the city needs to take the burden off of renters. 50% of Michigan is overburdened, paying 30% or more of their income to renting, and that is not allowing people to build asset. So the housing development, all of that is not working, right? I already said that before, and I want to reiterate it. Because the city is clearly invested in taking our green spaces and building wealth for people and developing downtown, and it truly does not care about its community. Graphic packaging, the lawsuit just got dropped, and an activist from the community in the north side just died after battling asthma for so long. So the realities here, they're so disconnected. Some of you are really, really, really disconnected from the black and brown community. We need to look at at our homeless situation. We need to look at the Alice situation, and we need to do something groundbreaking. You know, I saw the platform that the Kalamazoo Public Schools gave to Dr. Slade, the superintendent, and though they made it seem so radical, groundbreaking because it's black people, you know, like representing the schools, there's nothing groundbreaking about it. There's nothing radical, systemic about what is happening. On the contrary, parents are being intimidated with absentee letters, even though there's illnesses. There's stricter policies to try to get testing, because that's all that matters in the school. Is those test scores look good, the numbers look good, but they don't care about social emotional learning. They don't care about anything but punishing the kids for already struggling in the situation. We see families living paycheck to paycheck and still having to send their kids to school. There's 1,500 to 2,000 homeless kids in KPS schools, 65% of which are not identified. So they're struggling through school, they're sleeping during class, they're hungry during class, they're angry during class, they have outbursts, and guess what happens? Because of the safety policy agreement, Kalamazoo Safety gets to criminalize kids. That is what's happening in our schools. So please, stop talking about progressiveness and actually start showing us what is actually happening. You're taking our green space. You just sold the park. There's flooding and sewage everywhere on the south side. Like, this city is really, we need to take this Band-Aid of charity off, and we really need to expose those of you who are really interested in creating wealth for the rich. We see you, and I point at you because you need to do better for the black and brown community. You need to do better for those who cannot give you nothing.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, Caleb Leonard. I'm not sure that I get a chance to talk on these, so I'll just briefly go through. Item G2, the issue I have is it's a sole source contract for consultants, and why are we not reaching out to WMU's public administration program to use it as a graduate capstone so that we can get it done for free? Admin error in G5, because it's missing a fiscal impact. There is no listing of what funding account that's coming from. In G6 and G9, we're trying to contract for $204,000 for a traffic assessment and $470,000 to design 1 mile of road. All right, that's $670,000. You could hire a 4-man engineer department for 2 years for that. Okay, that's way out of line. Admin error on G11 because it's not consistent on whether it's Stockbridge or East Stockbridge Avenue. So please verify the contract information before you do that. All right, that is correct. Also, listed on almost all of these, you're saying that these consent items are one-way conversations. So conversations, one, are two-person, and secondly, they are generally informal. Since this is a formal, it would be more of a monologue, and if it was two-person, it would be a dialogue. Words mean things. So I'm going to ask, I will say just general comment, the website, not very helpful. I cannot even find the bylaws and parliamentary procedure, which is why I'm a little confused up here. I have not been able to find the published 2025 priority video on the YouTube yet. That's been a while, so I'd like to be able to see that, to figure out where you guys discussed our priorities for the next year. I have a few other questions. When's the last time you guys were in a public school? When's the last time you went to a shelter? When's the last time you walked more than half a mile? When's the last time you biked more than half a mile? You just had 3 people up here who, with a stroke of an email between the 3 of them, could have announced to 75% of the people qualified to substitute teach in our schools, and could have sent out an email to let them know the desperate plight of the situation, which twice, for only 5 minutes, I've talked to you about. You had that wonderful opportunity. They were talking about how they want to engage and get students into our schools. And nobody said a word. Dr. Cooney, I loved your advocacy, but everybody else, it was rah-rahs. I'm not happy about that. I have 28 seconds left. Hey, y'all are not board members. Y'all are not well, you're board members, but you're not administrators. You guys are here to lead. When you lead, you have to get on the ground. When you lead, you have to go talk to people. You have to actively seek them out. This is not a passive operation, okay? I appreciate that you're here. I'm appreciating your stepping up, but I'm saying that the situation on the ground is more dire than you're seeing on the dais.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi again, everybody. My name is Tina. I live in Southtown neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood that floods all the time. The streets flood so bad, and it's deep water, deep standing water that floods and sits in the streets for days, at least 4 days, before we can get in or out of our neighborhood. And all we get from the city is road closed signs, which traps us in even more. The water comes up from the storm drains in the streets and backs up the storm sewers. We also have a high water table, so destroying our last natural green space from Lake to Stockbridge to build is the wrong thing to do. For you have never experienced flooding, you can only imagine the sinking feeling of watching the rain coming down, how it feels to watch water come up in the streets at both ends and know you're going to be trapped. Then it comes up in your basement. At what level will it stop? You can't run any water, for it will come up in your basement. You worry and wait and see when the water will recede. And then we are in a severe climate change. Why would you want to take away a natural green space? Why would you want to take away the last natural green space on Lake to Stockbridge? There's a lot of wildlife there. There's a lot of bats that live there. We don't have a problem with mosquitoes because we have bats. It's a swamp area. It helps us with flooding when none of you do. None of you. Has a lot of big trees, wildlife. We need to protect green spaces, not destroy them. It all depends on where you're at to what you listen to. Green spaces are very, very mentally and physically relaxing. They help with the air we breathe, and we all know Kalamazoo has a pollution problem. These streets, the way you have them, cars sit idle for 2-3 lights. That's more pollution going up in the air. My sanitary sewer is bad, and the consumer just said it a couple weeks ago. He said it's failing. We have noticed that if you are in a wealthy neighborhood, you get better treatment from the city than if you are in a poor neighborhood. For if you are in a poor neighborhood, the city will do as little as possible for you because we are just not worthy of your effort. Now, if you want to build, why can't you build at the old DHS building? The city of Kalamazoo owns it. Why can't you put apartments there? Why do you have to destroy another natural place, the only space that helps us with flooding? It is a natural watershed. It has wetlands. It's in the NFP, which we all know that doesn't protect anything. That just helps the developers come in and destroy it. You know, if you're we need homes. Why not build at the old DHS building and leave that last little green space alone? And you'll never see me again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Rachel Hughes Nelson.
Chris Bowl.
We are members of the city's Park and Recreation Advisory Board. We're here tonight as self-appointed liaisons to you. The Prayer Board typically has a City Commission liaison to us. That has not been a successful partnership over the last few years. We would like to improve that, so in interest of improving that relationship, we're here tonight to inform you about the Parks Department and PRAB. Some upcoming events for the Parks Department are the annual Easter egg hunt, which takes place this Saturday, March 30th at Homer Stryker Field. There will be eggs for kids to find and other activities, prizes, and photos for families. On May 15th, the Parks Department has their annual bike rodeo event. This will occur at Mayor's Riverfront parking lot. This event teams up with Kalamazoo Public Safety and other local organizations to teach kids and families about safe biking and riding rules and techniques. In addition, the PRAB Board will be hosting 2 new events this year. The first will be the National Skateboarding Day. This event will occur at Davis Street Park's Skate Plaza on June 21st, and we'll have competitions and prizes for different age categories and a food truck and DJs. The second event is called the Youth Paddling 101 event at Woods Lake Park on July 11th from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Kids will be able to learn about water safety and learn how to use a kayak. There will also be snacks and other activities available. The PRAB Board consists of multiple community members who are passionate about our city's parks and who want to help make the city's Parks Department more successful. We would love to have a City Commission liaison who'd be willing to attend meetings regularly and help assist the PRAB Board members as we assist the Kalamazoo City Parks Department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Jordan Woods. I'm going to have to talk really, really fast. I would like to talk about item 12 on the consent agenda. I did not ask for it to be removed because I don't think it's necessary. I just hope that you all will be supportive of that. That is the third amendment for the United Way grant. I know for a fact when I was working at NACD, I contacted United Way and said there were some small businesses that didn't know about it. They didn't understand how to fill out the application. They didn't hesitate to come to NACD and personally help those small businesses apply for that loan. So I hope that you all will be supportive of that to continue to do it. The next thing is that I had an opportunity to hear an awesome, everybody has their own opinion, an awesome presentation from 3 people from 3 different colleges, and I hope that you will continue to do things like that so the community members can hear it. Just let us know a little bit early because I wouldn't have known. I just promised myself that I would keep coming so I could be informed so that when I fight, I will know what I'm fighting about. And sometimes when I can praise. And I just want to reiterate that all 3 of them said education was the key. Von Washington said that we are an education city, but I am here again to say that the Powell Library is still closed. The kids who live in Interfaith, Fox Ridge, Gladeshire, that live around there, they do not have enough money to pay for lobbyists. So I'm asking not only the people from the diocese, not only me, I talk to people every day and say, I shouldn't be the only one. I am asking that people reach out to Douglas and to the library and ask them, how can they help to get that library back open? That is one mountain those kids shouldn't have to climb. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Hello, I'm Jody. I live in Kalamazoo County. Our police deserve better treatment. They should have a sophisticated water filtration system. The 3 ponds down here on Park Street, it has a piping that just throws off a bunch of sludge, rust. It's nasty what goes into the 3 ponds. And when you wash your dishes and rinse them off and set them in the strainer builds the sediment. That's what's going into our bean. I mean, to encourage water filtration in bottled water is like, I think, a plus. So this Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes had a filtration system that she was showing, and it would clear out wastewater so that you could drink it. And things, a machine like that at our lakes and some of our streams, some of our ponds, instead of what's coming out of them, would be a great idea. I don't know how to get a hold of her or what, but maybe somebody here could. But that's what I'm here to just say about the police station and our filtered water. And I didn't produce a speech, so I'm kind of winging it. But thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment for our business meeting? Seeing no one else, Manager Ritzma.
We have several items on the consent agenda for approval. First is the approval of a 2-year contract with Waste Management of Michigan Incorporated for removal of waste and recyclable materials at various city properties in the amount of $103,283.23. Next, we have the approval of a contract with Leicester Contracting Incorporated for the replacement of the roof on Building 1A Roof and Water Reclamation Plant in the amount of $165,775. Next, the approval of a 1-year contract with Blue Cleaning for custodial services at various city properties in the amount of $184,014.99. Next is the approval of a contract with Westside Solutions Incorporated through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program for electric vehicle charging stations in the amount of $265,953. Next is the approval of a sole source purchase with Brentwood Industries for primary clarifier rehabilitation in the amount of $385,400. Next is the approval of the third amendment to the services agreement with the United Way of South Central Michigan for administration of the Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund. Next is the approval of a subrecipient grant agreement with the Kalamazoo Youth Development Network for state and local fiscal recovery funds in the amount of $750,000 to support summer youth programming and authorization of city manager to sign all related documents. Next is the approval of a request from the Kalamazoo Growlers to publicly display fireworks at Homer Stryker Field on June 7, June 22, July 4th, July 20, and August 3, 2024. Next is the approval of the appointment of Jamari Bogan as an at-large director to the Foundation for Excellence Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending on May 31st, 2025, and the nomination of the following sector representatives for reappointment or appointment to the Foundation for Excellence Board of Directors. The reappointment of Andrea Bostrom as the Healthcare Stakeholder Director for a 3-year term ending on May 31st, 2027. The appointment of Dr. Karika Parker as the Education Stakeholder Director for a 3-year term ending on May 31st, 2027. And the appointment of Kelsey McCaig as the Neighborhood Stakeholder Director for the Oakwood Neighborhood for a 3-year term ending on May 31, 2027. Next is the approval of the following appointment and reappointment to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. The appointment of Bjorn Nelson as a youth representative for a term expiring on January 1, 2027, and the reappointment of Rachel Hughes Nielsen for a term expiring on January 1, 2027. Next is the approval of the mayor's reappointments to the Historic Preservation Committee, the reappointment of Fred Edison for a term expiring on March 31, 2026, the reappointment of Kyle Hibbard for a term expiring on March 31, 2027, and the reappointment of Catherine White for a term expiring on March 31, 2026. Next is the approval of an easement agreement with the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget on behalf of the Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy for environmental remediation at 412 West Crosstown Parkway. Next is the approval and acceptance of a public infrastructure right-of-way agreement with Oakwood Bible Church as part of the Oakland Angling Intersection Construction Project. And finally, approval of an agreement with Norwegian Winds LLC for the purchase of 232 and 310 Belt Street adjacent to the Central Water Treatment Plant in the amount of $250,000.
Thank you very much, Manager Ritzma. So, Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 12 through 19, and postpone item 20 until April 1st, 2024, and authorize the city manager to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman, supported by Commissioner Wilson. Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes, although I need to abstain on G15 for the appointment of Jamari Bogan as an at-large director on the FFB board, although I'm excited for him to be considered. He's a board of director of the nonprofit that I lead.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney?
Thank you, Commissioners. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Manager Ritzma, regular agenda.
Yeah, item, what would be H2, is approval of a sole source purchase with Applied Asset Management Consultants for alignment of human and physical infrastructure assets for wastewater in the amount of $104,840.
Thank you so much. So, at this point, I know you didn't have a planned presentation on this item. Do you have someone who's available who might share a little bit about it?
Our Public Services Director, James Baker, is available for that.
Director Baker, thank you. Okay. Sure. Welcome, Director Baker. Nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. If there's any questions from commissioners or comments, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
Commissioner Prater?
I was just wondering if you maybe want to answer answer to the person who commented about the concerns about that, the funding being used versus utilizing, university talent. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So just some background. The consultant that we're recommending for this contract has history working with the Department of Public Services on a number of different projects since 2017. So there's a lot of organizational leadership and knowledge that we want to continue to pass on. So we've got a long history with this consulting firm. And our recommendation is to continue that history. Some of that work does include, some of the previous work does include a rather large work product that included our drinking water asset management plan, our wastewater asset management plan. We also had a work product that was our water system capacity, managerial capacity, and financial analysis program. That was a pretty large deep dive into the organizational behavior and leadership within public services. We learned a lot from that study. That was something that we were required to look at via Eagle, and that's something that we continue to work to implement. We've also implemented the Lean Sigma process with this consulting firm. Some of the work products that we focused on within public services has been our water main break response. So all of our workflow strategies and the implementation of the program, which is our water main break response, has gone through the Lean Sigma program with this firm. We've also had a lot of leadership coaching and continuity leadership focus within the director's office, utilizing this firm, and we've been, over the course of several years, focusing in different areas. There's 231 people within public services, and that can be a large group. So it's our goal through applied asset management to take leadership and team approaches, things like what great teams do great, and just the high performance organization and high performance culture, and take it from the director all the way down to the interaction that occurs where staff and frontline workers are taking place, and ultimately where we're interacting with our citizens on the street. So it takes us a long time to move all the way through these work groups. Work groups are generally small. This work group that we're proposing here is about 12 FTE plus management folks, and it's our goal to work with that group for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. I recognize the request to use students that are engaged in their studies. We'll tell you that this firm are professional engineers that have excelled beyond just their undergrad studies. That being said, we do have a lot of partnerships with Western Michigan University, including Capstone Design, Senior Design. City Kalamazoo has sponsored several senior design programs, and we've had several of those within public services. So more of a yes and response in that this recommendation, has the basis that's summarized in the document, as well as my statements provided, but we do work with WMU as well, mainly in Capstone Design Services.
Thank you, Director Baker. Other questions, Commissioner Prater? No. Any other questions for Director? If you'd be so kind, perhaps, to stay up close here up front. Yeah. Seeing no other questions, now is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to comment on this item. It was on the consent agenda and is now on the regular agenda. So if you want to make a comment on this item, now is your opportunity to come forward.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. That made a whole lot of sense.
Thank you so much. So, Commissioners, the motion is to approve the sole source purchase with Allied Asset Management Consultants. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Hess.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Cooney. Any discussion? Thank you so much. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Thank you. Clerk Borling. Manager Ritzma.
Item H5, approval of a contract supplemental with Carrier and Gavel through the My Deal Cooperative Purchase Program for traffic signal maintenance supplies in the amount of $203,000.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. So My Deal is a special program in the state of Michigan where the lowest prices are negotiated through the state of Michigan so that any local municipality can take advantage of My Deal pricing, which has already gone through an extensive procurement process as the state guaranteeing the lowest bid rate for material. But since it is now on the regular agenda, does anybody here on the commission have a particular question about this? Commissioner Pradel.
I texted the city manager and CEO Lamb earlier today about this, but on page 15, I think it's Caleb who had brought this up, but on page 15, it specifically says the funding available and estimated costs are detailed below. And then it says again, we are requesting the approval of this purchase using the funds below, but then there's nothing listed below. So is that what you were referring to? So I had texted them earlier just to alert them to that, but I don't know if it would be worth just making sure to notate what those are so the public has a chance to hear that.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel.
Deputy City Manager Jeff Chamberlain.
Hi. Thank you very much for that question, Commissioner Pradel. That's an excellent catch. And what you found was a typo, basically, in the staff memo that we wrote. In the financial sections for each of the items, for about the last year, we've been referencing the actual line items that we pay for something. So if we're buying a public safety cruiser or we're buying pipes, we'll put that into the memo of the actual line item. And the reason we do that is that it's kind of a checks and balance as we go through the systems to make sure purchasing, finance, budgeting, everybody has all their right codes and everything lined up for that. When that project is approved, it can go right out the door and move quickly. In this particular case, this is what we call a blanket type purchase contract, which means it's going to hit multiple accounts. So that table wasn't actually supposed to be there. It will be used kind of on a reimbursement basis as the Major Streets program uses it. There might be some tie-in with local streets, and this is also one where we do a cooperation with the County Road Commission. So we do projects, and then we actually get reimbursement from the Road Commission on it. So our apologies, that was actually a typo. It was some boilerplate language that was carried forward from another memo that should not have been in this particular item, and want to commend you on a really good catch on that. And we'll do a better job making sure we've got the right line items matched up with the right purchasing items.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager Chamberlain. Any other questions on this from Commissioner Pradel? All right, now is the opportunity for anybody in the audience to comment on this item. This is item that was G5, correctly? Is that right? Yes. Is there anyone who wants to comment on this item? Seeing no one, then Commissioners, the requested action is to approve a contract supplemental with Carrier and Gavel through the My Deal Cooperative Purchase Program. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Pradel. Further discussion, Commission? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next item, Manager Isma.
Item H6 is approval of a professional service agreement with Hubble, Rother, and Clark Incorporated for the MDOT traffic signal optimization project in the amount of $204,998.39.
Is there a question from members of the commission on that item? Seeing none, now is the opportunity for anyone who's here in the audience to comment on that item. It was formerly consent agenda G6, now regular agenda item.
Hi, just looking for a little bit of clarification on this, because if it's a traffic analysis, I'm just curious as to why I understand that it's an 80-20 split with a grant, but if this is a regular annual item, is there a reason we're not just hiring an additional engineer to do this study on a regular basis? Traffic engineer specifically? That's my point on G6.
Thank you so much. Any thoughts or input on that? I don't know who's someone prepared to answer. Any question about that? Okay. What's that? Sure.
Sure, I can address the commission on that. So just some background. This is a highway safety planning grant that the city did receive. This work is focused on optimization of 41 traffic signals all throughout the city of Kalamazoo. And when I say optimization, what we're looking at, we've all been at a signal and felt that we call that our direction should have maybe had some more green time, or maybe our turn arrow should have come up sooner, or something like that. So this is really what this project does, is it gets at kind of all those signals, and then how some of these signals work together, so that we can, the goal is to move traffic safely and not incur a lot of delay. So that's the focus of this. Also looking at pedestrians within that signal timing as well. So our recommendation to use a consulting engineer, and we use consulting engineers all throughout all of our projects. If you look at the amount of capital programs that Public Services is tasked with delivering year over year, we're currently delivering in the neighborhood of $75 to $100 million of capital program on an annual basis. Now, those projects often take 2 to 3 years to implement, so the actual spend dollar annually is a little lower than that. But in terms of those projects, we usually recognize that engineering costs are approximately 7.5% to 15% of project cost. So just taking easy round numbers, it's engineering costs can go up pretty quickly. When we look at utilizing in-house staff or bringing in consultants, we feel we've kind of got the best balance right now. We do have in-house staff engineers. We have quite a few of them. Each specializes in their own area, but there is a capacity limitation of staff as well. The other challenge, and as we get these projects designed and implemented and out the door, our rate of capital may not always be this way. We're extremely grateful and lucky right now to be able to bring a whole bunch of projects to the city through ARPA, state and federal dollars. To put some of those dollars in perspective, in 2023 and 2024, Public Services has brought forward over $28 million of grants to the city of Kalamazoo, competitive grants. And so those programs could go away in the future, and we want to be very careful. We want to be very calculated when we make recommendations for staffing, in that we don't want to overstaff and come to a future point in time where we're doing less projects and may have some idle engineers. So, we try to take that all into consideration. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Baker, for your very detailed and helpful response. Any questions from Commission on that? All right, thank you so much. Then the motion, Commissioners, is for approval of a professional service agreement with Hubble, Rother, and Clark. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Cooney,
Support.
supported by Vice Mayor Hess. Any discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion is approved. Next, Manager Ritzma.
Approval of a professional service agreement with Hurley and Stewart LLC for professional design engineering services related to the Burdick Street improvements, Reed Avenue to Level Street, in the amount of $470,000.
Just since this is once again a professional service agreement for engineering, I think the explanation is sufficient for this.
Correct.
Anyone in the audience that wants to comment on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one. Commissioners, the motion is to approve this professional service agreement with Hurley and Stewart LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borland, please call the roll.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney. Yes. Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion is approved. Manager Ritzma.
Item H10 is adoption of a resolution approving the amended development and tax increment financing plan for the Kalamazoo Downtown Economic Growth Authority, a corridor improvement authority formed pursuant to Act 57 of 2018.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. If questions do arise, is there somebody here who will be able to comment on this?
Yes, our Economic Development Supervisor, Paul Thuringer, is here, and our Director of CPED is Antonio Mitchell, and he's also available.
Commissioners, do you have questions for starters? Commissioner Prater?
I asked questions last week about this one, so I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. This is the second time on the agenda for this one, because it takes 2 times on the agenda, right? All right. Now is the opportunity for anyone who would like to comment on this item, formerly Consent Agenda G2. Please come forward and make your comments. See no one. Commissioners, the recommended action is adoption of the resolution approving the amended development and tax increment financing plan.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman. Supported by Commissioner Cooney. Any discussion, Commissioners? I guess I just want to say one thing here. It's somewhat detailed work. This in itself is related to our TIF district work. It was on our agenda before. It was a pretty extensive explanation around that and some questions that happened at our previous meeting. So, seeing other discussion, Clerk Borland, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. The resolution is approved. Next, Manager Ritzma.
Item H11 is approval of a subrecipient agreement between the City of Kalamazoo and the Kalamazoo County Land Bank for the demolition of 322 East Stockbridge Avenue.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma.
This one's mostly an administrative note because there was inconsistency on the agenda item between whether it was Stockbridge Avenue or East Stockbridge Avenue. And since there is both an East and West Stockbridge Avenue at 322, I just wanted to make sure it was noted for clarification before the vote.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to comment on this item?
Yes, I would like to know exactly what's going on Stockbridge. No one's told me anything. I don't have a clue of what you're even talking about here. I just know the old DHS building is up on your agenda. And I mean, if you're gonna build over there, build there. Please leave that last little natural space alone. We even have owls now. You want to kill all these animals everywhere in Kalamazoo? You already have people that complain. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also agree. I think that it's very important to note that we are in a climate crisis, that we need all the green spaces that we can take. And this affects all of you. If you have children, I have children. I can smell graphic packaging all the way to my house, but that's unrelated. I'm just saying, please, please, we need these mature trees. We need these mature spaces. There's not much left. A lot of the city is already flooding. We need to preserve these spaces. This needs to be an emergency for all of you to consider the spaces that you already can use, right, to develop, right? If this demolition is happening, what exactly is going on here? That's what we need to know. What is going to go here versus why are you taking this last green space there? We have mature trees, we have bats which are on the decline, which help with mosquitoes. There's a lot of things that go into this besides economic development. Connect this economic development with what really is going on in our climate crisis. That should be the priority for you, not money. Okay, so please, we need an explanation to what exactly is going on here and why this is being demolished as well. Thank you.
Anyone else that wants to comment on this item? Okay, seeing no one. I believe on that portion of Stockbridge that the even addresses are on the south side of the street and the odd addresses on the north side of the street. So that said, I know this is related to a piece of property owned by the city of Kalamazoo that is on the south side of Stockbridge. I don't know if you wanted to say real quickly, Director Mitchell, where the funding is coming from and what exactly is happening.
Yes. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Attorneys, thank you for having us again. This is similar funding that we worked with the Kalamazoo County Land Bank with the state of Michigan for demolition. Last year we demoed the bingo hall at this location. This is similar funding we're going after to demolition of the DHS building. There is no project planned on for this site right now. We're just trying to clear the site so we can start talking about what's possible for the future for this location, and there will be public meetings and information shared with the public on any other possible development or ideas for that location.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Director Mitchell. Any questions for Director Mitchell at this time? All right, thank you so much. So the motion is approval of a sub-recipient agreement between the City of Kalamazoo and the Kalamazoo County Land Bank for the demolition of 322 East Stockbridge. Is there a motion? So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Supported by Commissioner Cooney. Any further discussion? I just want to say one thing about this. I can't remember though whether that's in total or not, but it's very, very helpful for us to get this demolition money through the land bank in order to take down buildings that really are not reusable, in essence, blight. So I appreciate our relationship there. Thank you to the CPAD team for all your work on this and making sure this happens so you can bring it to us here. Clerk Bowman, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney?
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Manager Ritzma, do we have any reports?
Yeah, this evening I would like to highlight work being done, the great work being done in our Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. I know Chief's probably going to get a big head because of everything being talked about with public safety tonight, but no, it's all good. We have some recognition that I'd like to make for our Kalamazoo Valley Enforcement Team, our Crime Reduction Team, and our Operations Division. These officers are dedicated to keeping our city safe by reducing gun violence and keeping illegal drugs out of our community. So collectively, and I know the chief a few meetings back gave an update on some statistics for this year. I'm going to maybe repeat them here, but highlight too the work that they've done. So collectively, these officers have been able to seize 124 firearms, with 63 persons being arrested on 73 total weapons charges since January 1st of this year. This is a 30% increase of firearm seizures compared to this same time last year, 2023. In 2024 alone, investigators with KVET, which is our Kalamazoo Valley Enforcement Team, and Crime Reduction Team, has seized over 41 pounds of crystal meth, 2.77 pounds of fentanyl, and 2.4 pounds of cocaine and crack cocaine. To put this into perspective, the fentanyl seizure alone would equate to 12,000 individual doses that we removed from the streets. So just want to shout out to the teams that are working on that, and I know we're scratching the surface of the problem here, but it's a great job that public services or public safety is performing in keeping our city safe, and just wanted to highlight that this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Schwartzman. So, colleagues, now is the opportunity for commissioner comments, but I just want to remind everybody, we also do have a closed session tonight. We have to make a motion to go into closed session. We will do that after commissioner comments. Sometimes when we go into closed session, we come back out and take an action because we cannot vote in closed session. We can't move things in closed session. This evening, we will not. There's no public action to take relative to our closed session. So once we go into closed session, we are adjourning the public meeting. So in advance of that, though, now is the opportunity for commissioner comments. We would like to make some comments this evening. Commissioner Cooney.
I just want to thank Isaac for bringing in that excellent speaker over the weekend and reminding us about the situation with the black community, the ongoing struggles that they face. There was an excellent article yesterday in the New York Times about how there's an effort to undo all the things that were accomplished in the civil rights movement in the 1960s with the efforts to focus on what is called color blindness. Say, looking at color doesn't matter. Well, looking at color does matter because people who are people of color have experienced, black people particularly, have experienced slavery and discrimination and oppression over all these years. So I thank her for reminding us that we have a long way to go. The way to color blindness is by action on the injustices that black people are experiencing right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooney. Other comments from commissioners this evening? Vice Mayor Hess.
Thank you, Mayor. It's two things on the agenda that I was glad to see us pass. The $750,000 for summer programming for KidNet, once again, through our ARPA money. That's also an educational opportunity for our youth and to decrease the summer melt that actually happens when the children are not in school. And then we also approved $266,000 for electric charging stations, woohoo, toward our community sustainability plan, right? That in the community sustainability plan, we talk about electrifying our fleet in the city. So this is a beginning that we are going to begin to do that, and I'm just really happy about that. Another thing, Arcadia School, Arcadia Elementary School, fifth graders, we hear you. We've gotten your letters all around the issues of houselessness in Kalamazoo, and we will be making sure that we all respond to them. And let's see, today I had the great pleasure to visit Milestone Senior Services over on Jasper Street, and in the Meals for March program, I was able to visit with the volunteers before they went out. They serve 619 homebound seniors in Kalamazoo County, Monday through Friday between 9:30 and 1 p.m. with 17 routes, 12 of which serve Kalamazoo, Vicksburg, and Portage. The volunteers deliver 15 to 25 clients in 2 hours, and these are volunteers with their own cars and their own gas. They produce and deliver, Senior Services, Milestone Senior Services produces and delivers around 4,000 meals a week with a waste percentage under 1%. I think that's truly amazing. They do great work for the seniors and the homebound of Kalamazoo. And they do more than serve meals. They do safety checks on those people whom they serve. So big shout out and thank you to Milestone Senior Services for the work they do with Meals on Wheels every year. And then tonight, I just want to thank our college presidents for being here, for the putting a focus on this idea of education as a community value, as a unifying value here in Kalamazoo. And truly, Kalamazoo taking a status as an education city, because education is a way out of many things that plague us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hess. Other comments? Once, twice? Doesn't look like. Do you have comments, Commissioner Wilson? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I will just then kind of wrap us up here before we have this last motion to go in closed session. Just as a reminder, and I'm just going to touch just barely on the top of things here, but I just wanted to remind all of us, I mean, first of all, I appreciate working with all my colleagues up here, but I once again want to remind the community that 90% of the things and the work that happens in Kalamazoo is done by other people off of this dais. And here's just a couple examples of those things. We had the fabulous presentation by youth who talked about responses to gun violence. It was over on the Douglas just a few days ago. A lot of work was put into that. Great presentation. Some ideas I think we should think about. We'll follow up on that. A couple of those things, Manager Ritzman, I appreciate that. We also had a couple members of one of our boards, Park and Rec, come here saying, please attend our meetings, and I know there's someone who signed up for that, Commissioner Pradel, and I know you're going to be that person there.
I was not aware of that yet.
Okay, I know. Well, this is a surprise.
All right.
So anyway, all kinds of boards that people take their time and energy, obviously unpaid, because they care about this community and work in every way they can. Just if you look at our agenda tonight, we appointed once again a whole raft of people to Historic Preservation, to FFE Board, also to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. All boards that people volunteer and spend their time on outside of their lives of taking care of their families and doing their jobs and all that kind of work to help this city work. So it is a group effort, and sometimes one of the blessings I think is being in this seat is recognizing all those things that are going on, and also seeing that we can't make it to everything that's going on all the time. Luckily, we split up and we're able to go to some of the things that are going on, but in Kalamazoo, no one needs our encouragement or participation to get to work on things. It's happening around us all the time, so I appreciate that very much. So finally, we have a closed session. We need a motion. So the recommended action is a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman. Supported by Commissioner Cooney. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess? Yes. Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney? Yes. Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Since we will not be coming back into open session, we will be adjourning. I love you, Kalamazoo. We are adjourned.